Coinsurance is evil and must be destroyed. Hi everyone, I'm Brian Day. I'm a broker agent with GSQ Insurance, and I can't stand coinsurance. If you're not familiar with this, it's a penalty imposed by insurance companies for not carrying enough property insurance. Isn't that wonderful? So the way this works, if you have coinsurance at 100%, most difficult option, at the time of a claim, your property limits better equal at least 100% of the replacement cost, whatever it takes to rebuild your home, your office, replace the contents in your home, or the contents in your office space, your store, your construction company, whatever you're insuring. 80% coinsurance means that you better have at least 80%. Your limits better be at least 80% of what it takes to replace the home, the office, the contents, whatever it may be that you're insuring. And there are some insurance companies that only offer coinsurance. Now, a couple of them are great insurance companies to work with, but your broker has to know to select coinsurance at 100% in order to add agreed value. That will get rid of the coinsurance penalty, but you'll still see coinsurance at 100% on your policy, but you better see agreed value next to it. For the rest of the world though, unless there's some really tough circumstances around the building or the property you're trying to cover, you want to see replacement costs. You don't want to see coinsurance at all. So for a homeowner, one of the best deals you can go for is replacement cost at 125 or 150%. That gives you extra wiggle room above what we calculate your reconstruction cost to be. For businesses, we want to see replacement costs. You don't want coinsurance at all. And the worst case scenario for this stuff is right after a natural disaster. You have wildfires out in California every year. The East Coast gets hit by hurricanes every year, tornadoes in the Midwest. And what we see when there's enough damage, when there's widespread damage, oftentimes the cost of materials will go up dramatically. Same with what construction companies cost. The contractors will come out of the woodwork and they will charge a higher rate, supply and demand. And if you may have calculated your reconstruction costs just a few months back, think that you've got it covered, but what happens when the overall cost goes up another 30%? You find yourself in a situation that even without coinsurance, you're not going to have enough limits left to put everything back the way it was most likely. So how would you feel if you were penalized on top of that, where your claim check was reduced? And the worst part about coinsurance is this even applies to a small claim. Say you've got a $50,000 fire in your home. It only messed up a bedroom or two. Wasn't a total loss. Well, guess what? If at the time of that small fire, your property limits aren't adequate enough to replace the entire building, you're still going to see a penalty on that $50,000 claim after your deductible. So I hope you guys are able to keep up, and I will post a link or a description of the Coinsurance Formula, because the insurance company is the one that gets to decide how much you should have carried, and then they use a specific formula to determine how much they'll pay. And it's awful. I mean, look at what coinsurance has done to my hairline. There used to be a whole head of hair up there. It's terrible stuff, and I don't want to see any of you get nailed to the wall by this. It's one thing to not have enough property coverage in place and to not get enough back after a claim, after a fire, after whatever it is that tries to ruin your day. But to be penalized on top of it, it's just wrong, and I want to help all of you avoid it. So until next time, if you have any other questions about property and casualty insurance, specifically about commercial lines, let me know. Shoot me a note at briand@gsq.com. On my email, my contact info down below. Email works best. Sometimes the phone doesn't ring where I'm at out in the country, but nonetheless, thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great week and stay safe.